Hello and welcome to Business India with me Tarun. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji in his address Mann Ki Baat exhorted the people to move towards and try to move towards a cashless system, cashless society. He also said using cashless methods is as easy as using WhatsApp on your regular mobile phone and also can be done with phones which can operate at low bandwidth and also say areas where internet access is not as good, as it doesn't need that much of a speed. He also exhorted young people to teach, say at least 10 people in their community each day about how to use cashless methods of transacting. We'll discuss how India is moving towards cashless system and it is gaining greater acceptance as Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced the replacement of 500 and 1000 rupee notes on November 8. And to discuss all this and more, I have got Dr. Yamini Agarwal, Professor Finance, Indian Institute of Finance. I have got Sudesh Verma, spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party, and Hilal Ahmed Naqvi, spokesperson of the Congress Party, discuss the merits and demerits of this decision. I'll first start with Sudesh Verma for his opening comments on the Prime Minister's address.
You see, Prime Minister's address is clearly a landmark which the country has to achieve, because you see, we are not saying that everything will start happening in cashless system, but eventually you have to move towards that. You know, those people who say, you know, people will not use technology are actually guided by the feudal mindset. This is what the British also used to do, that no, you Indians cannot govern, that is why we are there. Technology today is so friendly that anybody can use it. That is why he gave the example of WhatsApp. Like today, penetration of mobile in farmers, if you see, almost every farmer is using a mobile. So it is just for him to graduate to the other level, and people saying that they cannot do so are trying to complicate technology. Technology is very easy these days. So cashless system can emerge, and if cashless system comes, then naturally is going to add to the economy in the sense that there will be no black economy. Everything will happen in white. People will pay their taxes, and which can be used for betterment of the society. So nobody should be opposing it. How we reach there could be differences of opinion, and we all should come together to achieve that task.
Okay, I take your point. I'm going across to Hilal Ahmed Naqvi, who joins us on the phone line for his opening comments on the decision of the government and Prime Minister's message for the people that he gave in Mann Ki Baat.
As far as Congress is concerned, they have always been with the decision of the Prime Minister that if he wants to flush out the black money and erode the corruption, then Congress is always standing with him. For fighting the corruption, we are really surprised to see that Lokpal bill has been passed, and now it is an act, and still government has not appointed any Lokpal. So this shows that how serious the government is in fighting the corruption, one thing. Second thing, as far as the implementation part of this demonetization is concerned, each and everyone has expressed its concern, and we are seeing that the economy is going into depression, and if there will be if 2% GDP will be declined, then we will see that losing around 1 to 1.5 crores of people, they will be losing their job. This is another impact of this demonetization. And now coming to the speech of Prime Minister. What Prime Minister has said about the cashless society or less cash, I'm unable to understand that whether he is talking about the Indian society or he is addressing to some other society where more than 30% people are uneducated. That means they cannot even write their name. Only 30 crore people have got access to the internet. That means 90 crore people don't have access to the internet. And if the banks which are available to the bank accounts which are there, that comes out around 30 crore or 40 crore. I'm not going to debate on it. That means like 80 crore people are still not using banks. And as far as the availability of the banks are concerned, we can very easily see that kilometers of kilometers, there is no bank, there is no banking institution. And in such scenario, if the Prime Minister is saying that we should move towards the cashless society or less cash society, I think he is addressing to some society which he doesn't know.
Okay, I take your point. I'll go across to Dr. Yamini Agarwal, Professor Finance, Indian Institute of Finance, to put the whole issue in perspective for the viewers.
Well, when we talk about a less cash economy, the very important aspect is that we are connecting the people to the banking system. Well, today they may not have an account, but because probably of the demonetization, they may actually want to have an account to switch over from their higher denomination notes of 500 or 1000 to, let's say, the other denomination notes which are available. And thereby, as and when we connect them to the banking system, we are connecting them to the economic growth and prosperity which has not really touched them so far. Another important aspect is, as and when the demonetization takes place, there is a complete stopover on the black economy, or there is a stop on the corruption money, because that money cannot be deposited in the banks, and automatically they would have benefit in terms of how the economy then prices its asset. And as and when the assets tend to actually reduce down in prices, they would be more available to the common man whom we are talking about, who probably does not have an access to other things. Now, it's not important to have banks in all the places, but you have, let's say, another possibility of having an alternative banking channel, which is the post offices. Now, post offices have been serving the rural India for a very long time, and the Prime Minister had converted the post offices into post office banks, which actually provides for a sufficient opportunity for a lot of people to access the banking system. Now, to say that they are not educated or they cannot reach to the infrastructure would not be correct. Sometime or the other you would have to provide that access, and today everybody has an access to the mobile phone, even if they don't have an access to the bank account. So mobile banking or other services can be made accessible to them.
Okay, I take your point. I'm going across to Sudesh Verma. Sudesh Verma, now I would want you to tell me, when the mobile revolution happened, India, switched to the whole mobile phone system, and the mobile spread was tremendous. Now, as with cashless, do you expect that, say, in the next 3 to 4 years, India would actually accept cashless system in a much greater way than it is today? Because we already see that in urban and semi-urban centers, people have started transacting via debit cards, or via internet banking, or even debit cards, or also your Paytm and such apps. Do you see the acceptance growing phenomenally in the coming, say, about 36 months or so?
Well, if you actually look at the acceptance of the younger generation which is there.
My question was to Sudesh Verma, and coming back to you, Yamini, after that. Yes, Sudesh Verma.
Tarun.
Yes.
Tarun, you see, technology is education neutral. Like you switch on the TV, you switch off the TV, you don't need education. So apps are so easy that you just need 2 steps, 3 steps to understand that. And there are always someone close to you who would be able to guide you if you want to use that. Okay. My mother started using apps, at the age of 80. So for learning anything, one can always learn. So to say that people cannot pick up with technology is trying to undermine their capabilities. People are very capable. Farmers are using mobile to know what kind of soil they have, to know the rates in the market. Farmers are already using it. So don't underestimate the capacity of Indian people to use that. You see, the way revolution is happening, technology revolution is happening, very fast you will find that everybody will have an Android phone. So if you have an Android phone with easier apps, why can't you use it? We are still saying that quite possible there will be some section which will be very, very reluctant to use technology. So cash transaction will go on, but we have to think of converting into cashless, so there is less of pilferage. And also, if you see from the point of view of common people, say for daily laborers, they are not getting their proper wage. People get it signed on a paper, they pay them less. So if you have to transfer the money in bank, then naturally they will get all the money.
That's a good point, that cheating will become difficult.
25.5 crore Jan Dhan Yojana. If you translate one family into 4, then already 100 crore people are linked to the banking system. And after this demonetization, if a drive starts that everybody should open an account, so why it should be impossible? It is possible.
Okay, that's a good point. Hilal Ahmed Naqvi, would you agree? Because as Sudesh Verma says, cheating people would be difficult, because in electronic transactions, everything can be traced at any time, any moment. And if some owner is not paying fair wage to his laborer, then he can be even penalized for it. So isn't it fair to a lot of people who would now get justice, as everything would be able to be tracked electronically?
I've never put any question to the technology.
Yes.
I've not said that the technology is not good. Yes. I'm not against this less cash or cashless society. What I'm talking about is that demonetization is not going to happen again and again. It has happened at the time when the Indian public was not exposed to this technology, when they were not having their bank accounts, and talking about that 25 crore people are having a bank account, and if you multiply it by 4, it comes around 100 crore people. I'm really surprised by this knowledge and analogy, whatever has been given by the BJP person. Bank account is for one person, and and that one person is going to use that account. Each and every person will have to his or her own account if he's going to have an access to this kind of technology. You cannot give password to 4 or 5 or 6 people to use their ATM or to use the internet banking or to use the pay time. Each and everyone will have to have an account. One thing. And second thing is that, first, all these things should have been done, and after that, if the government was going for the demonetization, such kind of adverse results would have never come out. And what about the technology which government is using? They are unable to calibrate the ATMs even after 15 days. So when government is not able to handle this technology efficiently, when government is unable to calibrate the ATM, then how you can expect people who are 90% of the total employment is in unorganized sector, when 67% of the people are living in the villages, and if you are saying that the post offices are there and the Prime Minister has them to the banks also, that is only for this demonetization process. Post office can never become a bank. You can never have a checkbook of the post office. You cannot have a credit account out there. I'm really surprised by what Dr. Yamini has said, that post office will become a bank. How is it possible? I think the post office is doing entirely different work. Banks are doing entirely different work. They have got the saving account, they have got the current account, they have got recurring deposits. So many kind of accounts are there. They are giving the checks also.
Okay.
Are the post office doing the same thing? I'm really surprised by what Dr. Yamini has said. She's a professor in that of accounts and finance.
Okay, now before I go to Dr. Yamini Agarwal for a rebuttal or her statement on this issue, I will ask Sudesh Verma if he wants to rebut the comments made by the Congress spokesperson, and then Dr. Yamini Agarwal can respond.
You see, we are talking about bank accounts for every earning member. That makes sense. 25.5 crore accounts we have opened in Jan Dhan Yojana. Although banks were nationalized in 1969, it took so many years for the poor man to see their own account. And we are using direct benefit transfer to transfer money directly into their account, and people have started getting it. So let's not doubt the efficiency of the system. You see, when late Rajiv Gandhi as Prime Minister had introduced computerization, remember Tarun, everyone in the country opposed. Trade unions opposed, they said that people will lose job. Computerization is not an in thing. Today, computerization is a reality. So you have to adjust with technology. You have to accept. We can understand people are rejecting change, but people normally, when you introduce change, people will oppose it. But it's the determination of the leadership and the younger generation that want a new country. The new country that would be less corrupt, there will be less black money. That is what we are trying to do. The whole thinking needs to change.
That's a very important point about the thinking of the Indian people. One is thinking, second the attitude towards currency. There is some time that Indians also should move forward and join the cashless society. Well, when I say, I also say it with full responsibility that nothing happens in a day. It will take its year or 2 or 3 years. But yes, 12% of GDP cash is not acceptable. A lot of countries have moved on to say about 4% of GDP. If India can even get to the 8% level, it will be a great achievement. Dr. Yamini Agarwal, would you want to rebut what the Congress spokesperson said? Yes. And also add your 2 bits to this argument?
The withdrawal limit on your bank account is 24,000 per week. And on the ATM, the withdrawal limit is about 2,000. And there are more lines in the ATM than in the banks, which clearly indicates that people want to keep their money in the bank accounts rather than actually taking out cash and keeping it idle. First thing. Second thing is that the post offices were converted into banks about a year back by the Prime Minister, and I've been a holder of a savings bank account for last 10 years, where these post offices have been bringing out several good schemes like the monthly income scheme or the girl schemes or the other schemes that have been there. So post offices have been serving as banks, and they have cards as well. That's for the information of the Congress person. Another important aspect is when you're actually dealing with the banking system, there is a very important aspect called the deposit expansion multiplier, which increases the money supply in the economy, that leads to a much higher growth in terms of the GDP as and when money is given to the banking system, because it is able to replicate it in the form of credits or loans to people at different rates, and we are expecting that the loan rates are likely to decline and more ventures are likely to come up. Another important aspect is that you cannot deny the people the right to be a part of the economic growth and prosperity by saying that they do not understand the banking system. The moment they understand that they are going to earn an interest rate on a bank deposit that is likely to be an other income for them, they are willing to participate and understand the technology which is likely to bring that change. So people are ready and more accepting to technology as and when they see gains from it. So to understand that they will not be able to let's say use the technology, or they don't want to be a part of the banking system, would be completely wrong to say.
Okay, I get your point. Now I'll go across to Sudesh Verma. Sudesh Verma, I want you to tell you, because the government has taken a really difficult decision. I mean, it could have not taken this decision also, but they say the government also took a very difficult decision. And what was in the government's mind when they took such a decision, knowing that you knowingly acted against a huge constituency known as traders, which is traditionally known as the BJP's constituency? How tough has it been convincing these people?
You see, there are 2 or 3 factors, Tarun, which are very important. You see, like we already know that the system has been eaten by termite. You know, it was only a matter of a big blow and the system will collapse. Because you touch any part of the system, you find there is corruption, there is black money, you cannot trust the system. So people, particularly the youth, when we say 65% of youth of this country want change, they want a better country, they want that they should be able to do their business honestly. Why should they wait for an appointment with a bureaucrat who has just qualified in an examination? And these entrepreneurs are not being respected because businessmen are not respected. Businessmen are seen to be corrupt. The attitude needs to change. It will change only when there is a less corrupt system in place, where people will understand their systems and values. The youth wanted change, and this government, when it came to power, it got massive support of youth. We have not come here just to be, another government trying to run things the way they were. We have come here for change. We were the change factor. Such a massive mandate after 30 years. So naturally, fighting against corruption has been our mandate. Work against black money has been our mandate. So this step was needed for course correction. We know that we may have alienated our core constituency or many other people who thought we will not be doing it. But we know that they will bear the pain. People queuing up, this is churning of the ocean. They are eating the poison, but they will get the nectar also for the country. So we are happy that people are bearing this with fortitude. They are saying that no, we are with the government. For the first time, poor people are feeling empowered and the government is acting against the rich. This impression needs to go as well, because the country is theirs. This impression never went. Okay. The country was hijacked by certain section of elite.
Okay, that's a good point.
To change.
Now I'll go
ready to fight it.
Hilal Ahmed Naqvi, I want to ask you, the people of the country feel empowered and good when they hear stories of cash worth crores being stuffed into private jets and being taken to Nagaland, so that a lot of people who would want to escape by turning their money from black to white in a tribal area where converting will not attract the kind of strictures that it attracts all over India. So do you think that the first time the common man is feeling empowered because of this decision, Hilal Ahmed Naqvi, because they realize that there is certain value to them being honest, them being tax-paying honest citizens? Do you think, and when you talk about a large number of people being poor in this country, don't you feel the poor also feel that justice is done to them because of this decision? What is your take on this?
First of all, I don't agree with my BJP friend that all the traders are corrupt, all the bureaucrats are corrupt. they are not respected in the society. It is not like that. This is the viewpoint which BJP might be having, that all the common people who are there in the line, they are the corrupt people, they are the one who are having the black money. I'm not ready to buy this this thing what BJP has said. One thing. Second thing is that like as far as the corruption is concerned, as far as the black money is concerned, I'm unable to see why this black money and this corruption will not crop up again. I'm unable to see the seriousness of the government. If the government was really serious, then they should have placed Lokpal in at their place and should have appointed some Lokpal. Third thing, that if the government is really serious about the black money, Supreme Court is asking about the 63 people who are the biggest defaulter, who are not paying back the amount they have taken from the bank. BJP government is not giving it. So there is no point of saying that it is there to deal with the black money, it is there to deal with the corruption. Corruption and black money will not be dealt with demonetization, one thing. Second thing, as far as the empowerment is concerned, first of all, you have taken away their economic power. First, you have taken away their employment. Now you are saying that the lines outside the ATM who are taking out the money. ATM is also giving the money only from banks. Those who have withdrawn 24,000 from the bank, they cannot go to the bank before a week has expired. Even those who are taking out money from the ATM, they too have that limit that they can take out only 24,000 per week. So I'm unable to understand what Dr. Yamini was trying to say by saying it 24,000 has been taken out. They want to keep more money in the bank. If they want to keep more money in the bank, who has stopped them? They would have done it earlier also. Now they are going to take out the money just to deal with their daily needs. You are unable to see that the whole transport system has come to stand. Still, you are unable to see that the whole construction industry has come to stand. Still, you are unable to see that so many fruits and vegetables have got rotten just because of
Sudesh Verma, would you want
decision
to?
of the
I've
government.
taken your
You are
point.
unable to see that the whole agriculture sector has come
Sudesh
to a
Verma,
stop.
would
You
you
are
want to
unable
counter?
that the GDP will come down by more than 2%, and then you are saying that this is an empowerment.
Yes.
What kind of
Yes.
empowerment is there?
Yes.
Tarun,
Yes, please.
Tarun, you see, first of all, let me clarify that I didn't mean to say that traders generate black money. No, but yes, they do a lot of business in cash. This cash to be legal.
So you mean
illegal, that's a
attitudinal
different
change
matter.
is needed?
You asked me how we took that decision. Because, yeah. Yes, so I don't agree with what the Congress is saying. You see, Congress they are talking about Lokpal. You see, Lokpal or even the court or even the Prevention of Corruption Act, which is already there. You see, what do? If you catch someone, after catching someone you punish. But are you having enough disincentives in the system not to become corrupt? What is the disincentives you have? So this cashless system is also one of the disincentives
again and again.
and also rewarding
You mean
those
to
people
say
who are
that
honest
this
taxpayers.
demonetization will
You
go
have
on
your
again and
genuine
again
money.
and again just to make
You have your genuine money in your
punish the
pocket,
people who are
in your
having black
card,
money. What are
and
you
do
talking
whatever
about?
you want.
Okay, I take your point. I'll go
So
across
we
to.
will create a system. You see, it's only the beginning. It's only the, Tarun, let me complete. Tarun,
Yes.
you see, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the founder of the Indian Constitution, used to say that money should be demonetized every 10 years because he understood the importance, of this cash, and they said that people hoard it. So unless you demonetize, you cannot control them. It was also one of the methods suggested by him. What is the problem Congress has? We don't understand. We are not doing for BJP.
Sudesh
We are
Verma, just
trying to
want your
correct the
take.
system.
Just want your
Congress will
take.
support us in that.
If B.R. Ambedkar indeed makes such a statement, then why is Mayawati opposing it? She should have welcomed this move.
Should ask Mayawati the question. You see, Mayawati ji may be hurt, we don't know. Because those who are talking on behalf of the common man, Tarun, the common man will look at these faces and then they will judge. Are these faces honest faces of the country? That is very important.
Okay. Now I'll get some good perspective now from Dr. Yamini Agarwal on this. Yamini Agarwal, what do you think in whichever country, whenever change happens, as Steve Jobs of Apple said much before he passed away, that it is a bitter pill, but the patient needed it. Do you think demonetization was a bitter pill, but India needed it, given how highly we transacted in cash and the middle class salaried persons were paying taxes from their nose knowing fully well that huge number of people just don't pay taxes. They just get away from the system by not paying tax and dealing in cash. Do you think they all feel happy today?
I believe it's rewarding for an honest man to see demonetization take place, because he obviously is very happy that he was one of the people who were actually keeping their bank accounts and the money over there as honest, on which he had already paid taxes. When we say it's a good change, yes, it's a very big reform, and it's a good reform because about the black money, as we understand, about 30% of the GDP we understand is black money, and there's an entire parallel economy which India has. According to many of the international institutions, the estimate is about.
On the RBI site also.
Just a second.
Previously in 2004 it was 40%, and after that from 2004 to 2014, now it has come down to 20% of the GDP. You can get
2.5% of the India's contribution to the world GDP. The similar amount is kept as black money in India, and this black money is not only in terms of cash but in other forms, and the Gini coefficient, by which the wealth has been accumulating much faster for the rich and is making poor people more poorer because they cannot afford services or goods, is a clear indication that the parallel economy is hurting the economy. Even when GDP comes down, it is good if it comes down in terms of prices. We are ready to pay a particular price for that particular
Good point,
GDP.
Yamini Agarwal. I think a lot of people would agree with your analysis. We'll continue this discussion in the next segment and the next edition of Business India. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining on this discussion of Business India. Thank you.